Hello, hello. What's the time? It's 12. We're right on time. I just have to invite Solveig. Here she is. Wait. Mm. Da-da-da-dum. Go.
It's working.
It's
That's good.
hard. So, like with lives, it's always the same, right? Everyone's like needs the first 2 minutes to sort out.
Yeah, you always think, is it gonna work out?
Oh
How
my
are
God.
you doing?
I'm so good. I'm so excited to have you here to finally offer you space because you've been so generous in offering me space. And, I was just like, I want to pick your brain. I want to take this time to really, yeah, hear everything you have to say. And so my intention is to like share that right up front. I want my community to, first of all, get to know you and what you do, and on the other hand, just really see how yoga can, like, incorporating yoga or any type of movement in their lives can really change their life and improve their well-being. And since you have been practicing yoga for a really, really long time, and you have an amazing community, um, yeah, I thought it would be amazing to hear you share that. Um, And so, for everyone who know, I mean, because most people won't know you, so this is Solveig. She is a yoga teacher and founder of English Yoga Meetup, which is an amazing yoga community in Frankfurt that she built 4 years ago, right, in 2017, to really connect English speakers in Frankfurt and to bring affordable yoga to people. Uh, and so that was like my little introduction. And I would just really want to give you the stage and just share a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah, sure. So thank you, Tatya, for having me. Yeah, where am I gonna start? So for those who have never heard about English Yoga Meetup, so we started as a pop-up group with yoga in the park. That was like 4 years ago. Now we have Corona, so it's all online. But I always say like we're not just about yoga. I always say like we're a little bit more than this because for me it's more like a lifestyle. So for me it's everything that you also do off the mat. So how do you live your life? Like what is important? What are your values? How do you treat people? What do you give back to society? So for me it's always a little bit like that big picture that I try to get across. And as you said, like, yeah, the intention was always to make yoga affordable again and accessible because when I was traveling, a little bit in Southeast Asia and Australia in the past, I was always struggling when I was in the class and I couldn't follow because of the language. So I was like, huh, what is she doing? And I've noticed like when I was coming back to Frankfurt, I was like, okay, I have a lot of friends as well who are not fluent in German. So sometimes you don't even know like what are they talking about. So I feel like okay, I'm gonna do that in English. So at least like the barrier of the language is not gonna be there. And I also felt like yoga, especially in the last couple of years, it has become a little bit that, I don't know, a little bit like that hobby for only people who can afford to do it. So sometimes when you're checking the prices in the studios, you're like, what? This is even more than for a fitness studio. So I was like, okay, like yoga shouldn't be that luxury. Yoga should be your everyday ritual that you can just integrate. And fortunately, with Corona, a lot of more people have actually found some access to yoga because they turned online. But I still feel like it's another experience if you do it online or if you meet people because it just creates another sphere. And we always did like this pop-up yoga and we went to special places a little bit around everywhere in the city. And it was so nice to have like that group dynamic and it just changes after 60 minutes with like a whole lot of, we had like big classes. So the whole atmosphere after 60 minutes with the music, with the special place, that was just magical. And I feel like this is something that you can't necessarily transfer the same way when you do it online. But this is a little bit where we started. Now we are doing online, of course, or one-on-one in the park currently. But we're also kind of creating some more resources about this. How do you take your yoga lifestyle off the mat? So, for instance, what are the morning rituals that you can do? How is Ayurveda coming in? How can you apply essential oils? Or have you already heard like about Chinese traditional gua sha face massage to work a little bit on asymmetries in your face? So I feel like just by meeting people, you can already tell in their face like what's going on, because the whole we struggle with the whole word, and you can actually tell in your face like, okay, is this person, are they feeling good from the inside? Because we can do a lot to improve our outside world, right? We change apartments, we change jobs, we change partners, we change our makeup. But like, if you're not happy from the inside, it's not gonna change anything. So for me, it's like always this look inside of you first, and then the whole world around you changes. And I feel like with yoga, like for me, it was not that it's love at first sight. At my first yoga class, probably like 12 years ago in Zurich, was horrible. And I always tell that story because a lot of people think like, oh, but I need to be that body shape, and I need to have that Lululemon outfit, and I need to have that mat to join a yoga studio. But I feel like, no, you don't have to. Just come as you are. Wear whatever you have. I don't care. And worst case, you just bring a towel to the park, whatever. So I feel like, yeah, it should be for everyone, because we can all benefit from it. Sometimes because I'm just doing this as a passion side project next to my full-time job, and I always feel like, especially in the corporate world, like so many people could benefit from yoga. Like we would be all more efficient. We would be all more like treating people differently.
Yeah, I can't even imagine the the improvements like in well-being that we could see. But and wait, there's so many questions I want to ask you.
Yeah, sorry, I've been
No.
pouring it all out.
One of them, like how to bring, yeah. So I'm just gonna go like take a step back and start in the beginning. So what actually brought you to yoga? Because I know that you have quite an interesting story around.
Yeah.
I know that you went to your first class in Zurich and it wasn't like that, but you actually like you were suffering a little from back pain, right? And that was kind of your more entry point into.
Yeah. So the first was like 12 years ago. My best friend I used to work with, she was like, Lady Gaga has that studio where she's always going there in Zurich. Let's go there. And I was like, okay. So we went there. It was horrible. It was hot yoga, and like I was hiding in the back row, and my mascara was actually pouring down. I looked like a panda. It was literally like the worst 90 minutes of my life.
Oh God.
And like this was not for me. Like everyone was in their bikinis showing off, doing the exercises in front of 90 minutes. It was super competitive. And like when you entered the yoga studio, there were like small little kind of things, and the students who came there, they always put like a little wooden ball on their thing, so you could tell like, this student is coming every week and she has like seven things already. And like all the others who are not coming that regularly, they don't even have like that little wooden thing. I was like, oh wow, this is a competition over here. So I never came back. And then I took a break from yoga for 6 years, which I definitely needed. And but the thing is, like during that time, I had finished studies and worked first time full-time office job, and I started to get back pain. No, basically it started with chest pain. Actually, I was in Paris, super fancy young startup. We all had our MacBook, and we were like so changing much the world. But I got this chest pain, and from that day onwards, it stayed with me, and it drove me nuts. Like I couldn't sleep, I couldn't be on my back. I was just a mess. So I was going to a lot of doctors in Paris, and they were like, "You're fine." I'm not fine, I have pain. And they were like, yeah, I can give you antibiotics. And I took antibiotics at the beginning and everything got worse, of course. And then they said, like, it's all in your mind. I'm like, what? It's not in my mind. I mean, I can tell that I have like 10 points already. So anyway, I wasn't able to do my job anymore because I couldn't sleep anymore. And if you can't sleep, then you're like really, you're standing like next to you. So I was literally like, after observing this and going to all these doctors in Paris, I was talking to my company saying like, hey, listen, I can't go on like this. And they said, yeah, then quit. And I was like, can't you quit me? And then because of the, you know,
procedure
consequences afterwards. And they said, no, we're happy with you. You're a good employee. We're going to make you quit. So you have to quit. I was like, talking with my parents a little bit. And then my mom, she said like a really nice sentence, and that stayed with me. She said, do it for yourself. And yeah, because I was like so afraid. It was my first like kind of real job, and I was like, I'm gonna quit. And yeah, and I did it for myself, and it was like the best thing that I could do. It took me a little bit of like overthinking and everything, sleepless nights, but I quit, went back to Germany, and I've seen several doctors and tried to figure it out. So basically, then I became free in my chest, but the thing is, it became worse, and I got back pain. So it was just moving. The pain was just moving. And again, I started seeing all these kind of different doctors, and they said like, okay, you have a deformation in the spine. Okay. I went to a rehabilitation center actually for 3-4 weeks somewhere in Germany, and they explained me everything, how I can train with my spine and everything. And yeah, well, yeah, then I've also met one doctor in Augsburg, close to Munich, and he said like, you should start doing yoga. Because I was ready to get an operation. I was ready, I had so much pain, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get an operation, I'm gonna get my spine straight. But there's like so many risks. Like if you straighten your spine, they do literally like they do steer into your spine and fix the spine according to the steer thing, like something horrible. But at that point, I was like really, I just want to have this pain gone. And the doctor in Augsburg, he told me, no, you should do yoga. And like coming from that super nice experience from Zurich, I was like, I'm not going to do yoga. I hated it. But he said like, no, skip the operation, do the yoga. Okay.
but how good, right? Luckily there are some doctors who are still kind of not the advocates for get surgery and stuff, but still try.
Of course. I'm happy today that I went there, but at that time I was like, literally I was driving all that way down to Munich to get that response to do yoga again. But of course I didn't start with yoga after that one, because yoga was not for me.
Like,
so
yeah.
it still took me a little moment, because then I really reached like a point where I was so fed up with my job and everything. I took a break. I went to Southeast Asia, and there I actually, because I was traveling with a backpack, I didn't have like much of sport equipment with me, and I couldn't really go running because I had knee issues and stuff. But there, like I've seen like a poster at the beach, yeah, we are doing beach yoga, and I was like, yeah, beach yoga is nice. Sunset yoga, I'm in. And so I started doing yoga at these beautiful places, like at the beach somewhere, on an island, in a little mountain or so, and I slowly got into it. And this is where I got into the trap. Because like it was that really nice combination of a place with yoga and feeling good all together, because I feel like places are so important. We are just not aware about it, but the places where we accommodate ourselves, like this has also such a huge impact on your mental health. So of course it all started with the physical exercises. I became into it. And the good thing is, like, when you're traveling and once you've learned the vocabulary of yoga, you know, like, okay, downward looking dog is always the same. Got it. So I was able to actually follow the classes then over there in Asia. And this is how very slowly I got into the topic of yoga. But only because there was that trigger of like beautiful spot plus yoga plus being outside, connecting with nature, and not being in a studio with all this competition and all these fancy outfits and branded mats. Like, this was not my word.
Yeah, and I love that, you know, well, yoga, first of all, it doesn't have to be complicated. That's, I think, the first thing. And the other thing is, it's like you said, when you start practicing, um, you can really make it your own. Like, it doesn't have to be, you know, when you know the basic postures,
Yeah,
you just make your own thing out of it.
yeah,
But
totally.
that, I think it's important, like out of your story, to kind of get across is it really helps. So not only when you feel physical pain, but it also really helps with releasing emotional pain, right?
Yeah.
My experience with yoga, I remember the first time I went, I was also in a pretty, I don't want to say dark place, but I wasn't feeling my best. And me and my friend went to this yoga class like 3.5 months. And I swear to you, like for someone at that point, I still didn't do, like I didn't do coaching. I didn't do any like spiritual or personal development work. But I did feel like a lot of bubbled up energy, which is kind of probably similar as to what you felt right when you were like in that job that was kind of squeezing you.
Mm.
I felt the same way. And, you know, those 3.5 months of yoga, and that was just like once a week, a 1 hour class a week, it really helped release that tension and energy and just bring me back kind of to the present moment. And I think specifically for people who aren't really so ready to like dive deep into like their own stuff and like beliefs and everything, I think it's a really beautiful way to kind of get in touch with yourself and release, you know, the energy and everything. So what's your view on that? As you know, obviously you do it more regularly and with more people. You've
Yeah.
seen more.
So I always say, like, yoga is not such a sport that you just start like this. So usually there's a backstory when you start yoga. So a lot of people come from a dark space when they start with yoga, because it's usually someone who's telling you, yeah, why don't you try yoga? It's not like playing basketball, right? Like, it means like you're carrying already a lot of you around when you start with yoga. At least you, I don't know, some have that breakup or change careers. Like, there's some kind of struggle, I feel like, before you start with yoga. And this makes you also very vulnerable, right? I remember I was in a class somewhere in Asia. After the class, I was just mad. I was like crying. And I didn't even know why. And but it kind of touched me, like, that it has such an impact on you that you can actually release emotions. And what I like about yoga, I've learned my body, like I've learned all the asymmetries. I've learned why this side is my tight side and the other one is always a good one. But that you shouldn't judge, right? It's the way it is. And it's not just a physical practice. It just makes you acknowledge, okay, I can never work against me. I can never force myself, because there's only one way that I can work with my body. And after getting all these injections into my spine, after meeting all these doctors who were telling me that I'm weird, that my body is weird, and they have never seen something like this was for me just a way to make that, I know, that relationship again to my body, to say, like, it's totally fine the way it is. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely yoga is not that I'm in the best state ever in my life and that's why I start yoga. I feel like most of the people are coming from a sport like where they're struggling, and they kind of find something to connect with themselves, and this is what's changing their life, because they know, okay, I'm worth it. I'm worth to stand up for myself. I'm worth to do this or that decision because I know it's going to be good for me.
Yeah.
And this is the whole magic about yoga. It's not doing the downward facing dog.
I completely agree. It's because it offers a space, I think so, like you so beautifully said, it offers you a space where you can really connect with yourself, come back into the present moment. A lot of the exercises, you need to be like, you can't be somewhere else. You know, you have to be here and really kind of control your body, and it just touches. I think there's intelligence in the postures because they really they press on certain points of your body that really store energy, right? And correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding, and it really just allows you to release any built up energy kind of store in different places. And in that sense, it's like much more how do you say, it's um, not strategic, but a little bit in the sense of that it really helps you get closer and
Yeah.
yourself, right?
Yeah, and this is what I said at the beginning. You can tell with people when you're walking around the streets, they are like this, they're making themselves smaller, right? Like shoulders before, closing up the heart to not get like hurt. So when you work on like opening this chest again, opening the heart, you're a different person. People are gonna perceive you differently. You're gonna feel more open to new opportunities rather than doing this. Like this changed everything. And especially, we always say in yoga, like a lot of emotions, a lot of trauma, we store it in the hips. And that's why I only figured that out afterwards, after that class where I was crying somewhere in Indonesia.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, it was a lot of hip work actually. And they say like, in the hips you store all these emotions, and when you work on releasing the hips, then kind of these emotions can come out again and you can let go of them. I'm not too much on the spiritual side, to be honest, but I just notice, okay, when I work on this, I just feel better. Whatever I'm gonna release. Like, you don't have to think like yoga must be super spiritual. No, there are different yoga styles, and I always tell people, try out different ones. Like, see what you like. I'm not the person, for instance, who's like only doing breathing 60 minutes. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
this is just not my thing, but some people just expect that from a class. So I always encourage people to try out different teachers, try out different yoga styles. For me, it also took me a while to find my type of style that I actually enjoy doing. So yeah, I feel like you need to be a little bit open and don't stop searching, because the first couple of classes that I've done, that was not for me, but then maybe trying out another style. And I feel like, especially with YouTube, Instagram, you can discover so many different styles.
Yeah. And you know what, I was also wondering if you can just, I mean, not give an overview or go into too much detail, but there's so much out there. Like there's Kundalini yoga, yin yoga. There's this I don't even know, like something
Ashtanga.
Ashtanga yoga. Like where should people start? Like what is the
Hmm.
step with?
Yeah, to be honest, when I did my yoga teacher training in Australia, I didn't even know when I was starting the training what kind of style I've been taught over there. So I've asked my teacher, hey, what kind of style do we do here? And like I was at a stage to become a teacher, and imagine how confusing it is for people who are not at that stage yet. How can they figure out what is the difference between a hatha vinyasa and a yin class? Like,
Exactly.
what the hell?
Yeah.
So I think if you feel more like burnt out, chronic tension, and just life is getting too much, then rather go for yin style. Yin is very, very grounded, a lot of support with cushions and pillows and plates. This is more like nourishing. If you feel like I want to do yoga because I want to move, because I'm stiff all day, and I want to have a little bit of a challenge, then maybe go for vinyasa. Vinyasa is more like that flowy kind of movement, a lot of transitioning. And hatha, I always say like hatha is like the base for yoga. So it's good then when you learn all the hatha postures. Hatha usually is when the students stay a little bit longer in the poses. This is something that me personally drives me nuts because I'm a very impatient person. So when I'm in a full hatha class, I always go like, I'm not going to stay here 3 minutes in that pose, guys. But I think this is exactly what this style is about. So it depends what you're looking for. And there's a different style out there for everyone. And Ashtanga, whew, Ashtanga is very dynamic, very challenging. It's in 3 series. Most of the times only the first or maybe the second series is taught in most of the studios. This is like really a committed practice. I would say there's also, they always say there's a risk of high injury. I feel like with every yoga class, you have that risk if you don't do it properly. So you really have to be careful. They always say like this style was created for Indian men at the age of 16. So I feel like it says already a bit about that type of style, and that's why I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for every woman out there.
Or especially for beginners, right? Because it can
No, you're not gonna go into an Ashtanga class if you're a beginner, because I remember I had my first Ashtanga class in Paris, and the teacher was asking me, "Have you done Ashtanga already?" And I was like, "I don't think so." And he said, "You would remember your first Ashtanga class." I was like, okay, wow. And I still remember that one.
Oh my God. Okay. So I loved that overview. And something that I think could also be interesting is how are we supposed to practice yoga? Like how often? Is there like a guidance or like when or is it
Yeah.
you would say?
So I get this question all the time with my students. Yeah, how can I make yoga practice and everything? Um, Easy. Just do one pose every day. One pose is enough, guys. Like seriously, I feel like yoga doesn't need to be a have to. Like we all have like full calendars. Me too. I'm working full time doing yoga at the same time, so my calendar is pretty much full. And me too. I don't have that time to practice every day an hour. I would love to have that, but in a modern world, it's probably not the case. So you really have to find that slot where it works in. It's a little bit like toothbrushing. So where is that moment where you can just integrate it in your days? So a lot of people, they swear by, I do it in the morning, so full focus, sunrise, everything. Again, it depends on you. I'm not a morning person, so I'm not that typical yogi at any means. I'm not waking up before sunrise to do my yoga practice. This I would love to be that like this. I'm only like this on my vacation, but not like when I'm working over here. So for me, like that slot where I can always squeeze it in, like 10, 15 minutes, is before I go to bed. So I usually roll out my mat. I have it next to my bed anyway, and I just tune in what I need in that moment. Is it hips? Is it shoulder? Is it a deep stretch? Whatever. Is it a little bit of movement? So I feel like you just have to find where is that spot in your day where you can just squeeze it in, and don't overcomplicate it. Just go what you need to do on this day. Like you don't even have to put on a full 30-minute YouTube replay. Just check in with your body what you feel like moving. Yeah.
I also I don't want people to put pressure on themselves in terms of, oh my God, now I do yoga, now I have to do it like 7 days a week or something. Or and it's not real yoga unless I do 60 minutes. Like forbid, like 5 minutes can do miracles, right? I really want like I want to make that clear. You're gonna make huge differences even with 3 to 4
Yeah.
does not need to be like full on class.
No, it doesn't need to be, exactly. And we all think like, yeah, I need to do that 1 hour and everything. Of course, it's nice if you do 1 hour, and of course, it's nice to be guided by a teacher and everything. But on a daily base, if you just want to do a little bit for yourself, because this is why you do yoga, you do it for yourself. then just do what's available to you and don't blame yourself if you don't do it. I was always blaming myself because I skipped the breathing part, or I skipped the meditation part just because I'm not yet too much interested in it. But I don't have to blame myself for doing that. Like we all have like this negative self-talk going on, like, oh, I should do this and should do that. Like, just get and just do what you need.
And listen to yourself, right? Like honestly, you're gonna know intuitively. And I love this is why I love the way you do yoga because it's very intuitive. It's very it comes from the person, from the individual, even like the way you do it. It's not like are no restrictions or restraints. It's just very, yeah, tailored, I would say. And I think that's the whole point of discovering what we want, like what our body needs in the moment, and just paying a bit more attention to what that actually is.
Yeah, and I think you also need like a teacher who encourages you. Like I had teachers, I've been teacher hopping so much, like every time I was traveling. I had like teachers who were like pushing me into that pigeon pose, and I was literally screaming,
Yeah.
like, come on, guys. This is only yoga. It should serve you. It should not make you feel super painful. So I feel like you need a teacher also who is kind of encouraging you and not always saying this, that. This is gonna drive you nuts. Like especially if you already have a job that is demanding a lot of you. No,
And you know what? I was wondering because a lot of times we have this connection of, yeah,
I can't hear you.
oh, sorry, now.
Now I can hear. Yeah.
Uh, we're yoga ever since yoga came to my attention, which was when Donna started doing it, and ever since I realized like,
I have like a little bit of a problem to hear you.
I don't know what's happening. Maybe now should I
Now
look?
should be working. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Like no worries. Good that you addressed it. It's yoga. So a lot of times, or for a long time, it seemed to be that just women are practicing it. And coming back to like the thing where you said Ashtanga yoga was actually developed for Indian boys, like 16 years of age, it actually originated. So basically, for men, I assume by men, I'm not sure. Um, and I really want to invite just like bring out the stigma and to like kind of say to every man or whoever is listening, just to kind of encourage them that yoga is a really cool thing for you as well. It doesn't, you don't need to be afraid of it or think that it's just for women or something, right?
Yeah, I feel like this is still some kind of a yeah. This is puzzling me as well in the yoga industry, to be honest, because originally, yes, it was taught in India, so mainly between men, and it was like this Mysore approach. So people came into that room, and everyone was doing his or her own practice, but the teacher was coming around, and he was correcting the others. And still today, like when I see a little bit like the teacher trainings, quite often like the gurus are still men. And then I'm thinking about, yeah, but there's so many women who are doing yoga. Why are the teacher trainers always are male ones, but the students are female ones? So I haven't really figured that out for myself yet. But I can just tell from my experience from English Yoga Meetup, especially for the outdoor classes, we had a lot of guys always, which was nice. I would say maybe up to 30%
Wow.
when it was a nice summer day, and you also need that mix. I don't think that yoga should be limited to women. And no, we need diversity in our society anyway. So that was nice. We had like regular comers, a lot of American experts in Frankfurt over here. I think, yeah, it doesn't make a difference if you're man or woman. Well, it does make a little bit of a difference anatomy-wise, because you can tell with the students that male anatomy is of course different than female anatomy, and like everything that is a little bit like hip opening can be kind of a challenge for the man. But you can adjust and you just try your best and you don't force it.
Yeah.
So, and I think there's just that awakening also that that yoga can be also for guys. Like when I was a backpacker in Australia, I found a very nice yoga studio over there, but it was super pricey for me as a backpacker. So basically, I was working there a little bit at the front desk and like cleaning the studio mats and stuff. But I got like all the classes for free, which was insane. So
Yeah.
I was there every day.
Yeah.
And like most of the guys over there, like they were surfer type of style, and they just did that in so they did the yoga as a balance to the surfing if you want. So I feel like these are also like two kind of exercises that you can combine, especially if you do like yoga with something else, or you're a runner and you do yoga to stretch the muscles again. So I've observed this phenomenon quite a bit, that men tend to do yoga with something on top. They're cycling and yoga. And also for women, I feel like it makes sense to do something aside as well.
To combine it. And something that just came up for me was yoga. I think a lot of people have the experience, or I've heard a lot of my former colleague. I'm sure he's not watching this, but like he was like, I went to a yoga class once and it was so slow, like because he wasn't used to his mind slowing down. And I don't know like what type of yoga he went to, but obviously for him it was just like he needed some movement. And I just want to also clarify, right? And you'll know this better, but you can have really slow yoga, but you can have really intense yoga. I mean, like to the point where you
Yeah,
sweating, dripping, and
yeah,
you can really feel it the next day, right? It can be like from
yeah, totally. Totally. It can be a workout or work in. Always depends on what you're looking for. And I think it always depends a little bit on your job. If you have like a job where you're working a lot of with your mind all the time, then maybe in your free time you want to be more on the moving side, you know. So to come back to that balance.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Love it. So wait, there's some something else I want to ask. Something I love about what you do in your community, and you mentioned this in the beginning, it's not just about yoga, it's really about connecting like all of these different aspects that kind of support you in your own well-being. And I just want to kind of, yeah, share a little bit about that. What do you have, like what in your community, what do you combine, what topics do you kind of bring, what's important to you?
So I feel like in yoga we always have that concept of alignment, right? So your teacher is going to tell you, yeah, do it like this and this to adjust it to your body type. And I feel like we should look for that same alignment also in other areas of our life. So how about relationships? Relationships is such a huge topic, right? And not only like with your partner, but also with friends, family. We all have relationships somehow. And you also have to ask yourself that question, does it still feel aligned, for instance? So, um, yeah, when I had like this chest pain going on, I was going through like kind of a separation phase in my life and everything. So I think it works both ways. When you start working over here, opening your heart, then you are preparing yourself again. Also, okay, you know, this is a new chapter that I'm gonna start. But it can also help you when you already have that trauma inside of you, just to feel better again. But this concept of alignment, what feels good in you, is this relationship still the right thing for you? Or is that job still feeling aligned with your values? Or do I still need these friendships? Or you just notice, okay, maybe we have developed in different ways, and then it's okay as well to release and let go of that relationship or friendship. So I feel like alignment is like such a big topic. What feels aligned to me, and also like the whole way how I created English Yoga Meetup. For me, it was always about alignment. I can't do, teach, pray something that I don't do myself, right? That's why there are not really meditation classes on my channel, because I'm not there yet. That's why I'm not too much into all the spiritual Kundalini type of part, because I'm not there yet. It doesn't mean that I'm gonna go that way, but I'm just exploring a little bit side to side. Okay, what is out there? Um, and it's a lot about well-being, but then the question already starts, what is well-being for you? For some people, well-being, self-care is to have like a space. Again, like space is a huge topic in my life, actually. Like spaces, what do the spaces do with you? Do you feel nurtured, or do you feel at ease over there? But self-care can be also taking care of your finances, because we always think like, oh, money is bad and everything, blocking beliefs. But this can be also self-care, because you know why you do it. You do it for yourself. It's about self-care is also, how do you treat your body? What do you put inside? So everything that is food. Um, so I feel like this whole topic of holistic health, like we are just realizing what is behind there. It's not just the food, it's not just the workout, it's like the whole self-talk that we go through 24/7 a day. And me too, this is like a huge topic that I need to work on, especially as like a sidepreneur, where you always have doubts, where you feel like, how am I going to be judged when I share my gift with the world? Will I be judged? Will people care? Or they don't give a fuck? You know?
Yeah.
So we all need to find that alignment, like what feels good, and not just in your body, but also in other areas of your life. And then there's no point about comparing. There's no point in comparing yourself with that fancy yogi in the first row who has the coolest mat and the fanciest outfit, because this is not your life, right? It always comes back to you, and you feel like, okay, maybe my decision is to be here, to stay in that space, and to have that relationship. But like, you always have a choice. And sometimes we are like so desperate that we feel like there is no choice. But actually, there are always three choices. There's a yes, a no, and somewhere in between decision. And the somewhere in between decision is where it's getting actually interesting, because this is where you really brainstorm, okay, what other options do I have other than the ones that are so obvious? Yeah.
Love that. I love that you're speaking to the resourcefulness, and I think this is a topic that I'm passionate about because I think I've always like kind of kept myself small and like up until before I started the spiritual and personal development journey. And a huge topic for me is how can I be more resourceful? How can I come up with different what options do I have? And I just really want to kind of influence that for anyone who's listening. And by the way, if anyone has any questions, just drop them below. Um, so back to resourcefulness, like you really wanted to do the yoga, and you are the back in I think Australia, right? And the resourceful part of you was, how can I do yoga at that studio? And you did it like, hey, I'm just gonna work there, and you got the classes for free. Like, isn't that amazing? And I just really want to like encourage anyone listening to really think about not, oh, I can't do it. Because you could have easily said, oh, it's too expensive. I'm just
Yeah.
good. But you were like, no, how can I, what
Yeah.
can I do to do that?
Because the question, actually, I have a little post-it on my fridge. The question is not if I'm gonna do it. The question is how I'm gonna do it. So I have this little post-it. It's like a pink heart shape on my fridge, and I read it every day.
Yeah,
And so the question is not if you're gonna succeed. The question is how you're gonna make it succeed.
love it. And also a little bit back to your point, and then we can like start concluding slowly. Um, um, I just also want to make it clear just how yoga and what you offer in your community is really like a connection of mind, body, and soul. And this is something that you spoke to before, because all of these parts need our attention, right? Like our body and everyone's gonna feel it like right after you do yoga. I feel you feel like a new person, and that's what our body needs. We need that feeling. We need to move it. Our bodies, like, they need to be moved, and you're always going to get the signals when your shoulders hurt, your back hurt. Like, it's intelligent, and it's always going to keep sending us signals like, hey, like, I need some, like, attention here. I need, like, some movement here, and we just need to start paying, yeah, listening more, and finding a way to actually, right, give it what it
Yeah.
needs. It's the same, like you said, with your, what are you putting into your body? What thoughts are you thinking? What movies are you watching? What music are you listening to? Like, if you take a step back and, like, really evaluate, what are you, like, what people are you hanging out with? How happy in your relationships? Um, all of these things, it's like really holistic. It's everything. It's not just one thing. But yoga does open the door, I think. So
Yeah.
it's really like a light, like a lovely door opener to go into that world of, like, self exploration and doing amazing, beautiful things for your body. And it can really, like, not only release energy. If you want toned body, I'm sure you can get a toned body with yoga. If you just want to, like, relax, you will get the relaxation, right? It's very versatile in that sense.
Yeah. And I love that example that you said at the beginning, we need to move and everything. Actually, in the animal world, you can observe the same thing. Like sometimes you have animals like dogs who are like doing like this, like shaking. And like this has become like a huge thing on Instagram as well. Like you always see like this shamanic dancing kind of videos. So where people just dance like for 5 minutes or even longer. Just we just need to shake because we are getting stuck. We are sitting, energy can't flow. So sometimes we just need to move in an uncontrolled way just to recalibrate the system. And dogs also do this, like they do, they shake and everything to recalibrate.
Well,
And I feel like sometimes we just need that reset button for ourselves
for
to feel alive, because I feel like there's so many people who are just, they just function. They go out, they're all gray, and they function and they do their job and have the tunnel view. But like the world, especially right now, with so many challenges coming off the next couple of years, already right now. Like we need people who are creative. We need people who stand up for themselves, who have ideas, who don't give up. Like I feel like this is really what it is about. So, and if you have like that good relationship with yourself, then I think you're also able to share that with others, and this is gonna inspire the others. Like I get so many feedbacks from the Frankfurt community. You're inspiring. I've never seen myself as an inspiring people, but apparently like this drop of passion sparks over to others, and then it inspires other people. And this is only how we can change something in the society. Because if you're doing yoga, you're looking for a change. You feel like either you want to just change yourself, or you just want to, I don't know, just do a tiny impact in the world. But you always have to start with yourself.
true. So true. And it is about, when we give ourselves permission to really live ourselves and to follow our dreams and to be creative, I think that's where it's kind of like, um, you influence the people in your circle, they influence the people in their circle, and it really is like it just goes and out and out and out, and we touch more people with that. Oh my God, you know what? There's I want to ask you, but I'm aware of the time, so I really
It's nice. I could talk with you about this for ages.
okay. I feel like so many things came up. Oh, I just want to say something that you spoke to, which is so interesting. That animals shake, shake, shake. Um, you know that what I just found out in my coaching certification is that, and there was an expert who did a research around trauma with people and with animals, and they realized that animals don't have trauma, and trauma is basically unprocessed energy in our bodies that we don't know how to process it at the time, and it got stuck somewhere. And they realized that animals don't like have this mental level that we do, so they don't rethink of the same situation and re-traumatize themselves. So they basically, they're kind of like little kids, just in the moment they shake it off and then they go. And that was really interesting for, obviously, it is interesting for us to know how can we learn from that. So, and it is a big part of it is really just like kind of shaking it off and letting that energy flow and not really keep storing it. And I think that's really important also for people to know that we a lot of times don't really process our emotions, right? We're mad, but we don't express it and we don't allow ourselves to feel it. And we kind of push it down and push it down and push it down. And all of that energy stays in our body. And we're kind of like in a way making ourselves ill, right? Instead of it needs to go through and out. And I think with yoga and with movement and with all of these practices, it's a beautiful thing,
Yeah,
to,
we do a lot of things to not feel the emotions.
yeah,
Like we do a lot of things just to distract the mind. Like either we consume way too much, or we look too much Netflix, or too much online time, social media. We are all guilty. Like no one is better than the other one. But it's just like sometimes we don't want to feel that emotion, and that's why we're coming up with a supplement to not feel what's going on.
yeah,
So I feel like what always helps me is journaling. Very simple. Every morning, every evening, takes me 6 minutes. And just to process a little bit, what are my triggers? Because me too, just because I'm a yoga teacher doesn't mean like I'm not struggling. I'm struggling like hell. But I've noticed, okay, what are the triggers? Like if someone is telling me a story from a friend, and then I feel like, oh, why is that triggering me? Like, what does that say about me? Because most of the times the story is not about the other person. It's more like, what does that thought? What does it do with you? And putting that on paper and getting it out of my mind is like making it tangible, and then I can deal with it if it's tangible.
yeah. So beautiful. And I think really, really helpful for anyone listening. I love journaling as well, just putting it out there, putting it out there. Okay, so I know you have some really amazing things. I know not all of my community who's going to see this is in Frankfurt. So obviously you do currently, due to Corona, you do something very amazing, which is a one-to-one yoga sessions in Frankfurt. But for those who aren't in Frankfurt, how could they, I don't know, how could they work with you?
Easy. Corona opened up the whole world, right? So now you can practice with everyone. So I do like a couple of live stream classes every week. Um, Most of the times, always Mondays, Wednesday, Thursdays. This week, a few more actually. You can just check out on Yoga Meetup. I always have to work around a little bit my own working schedule. But like this week, for instance, we have one today, 7:45, tomorrow, and on Friday. So there's something out there at any time. And even if you feel like, Solveig, your schedule doesn't really work with my schedule, then you can always check out the retreats. And in the retreats, you always have a sequence, a yoga sequence with me as well. And you can just do it whenever you feel like, at midnight, in the morning, or simply just grab, like we have a free retreat actually. And this is like my welcome gift. So you get an impression already what is my style, because like I feel with yoga it's a lot about the teacher. If you can't connect with the teacher, then just drop it. So if you feel like I don't know what I'm actually buying, then get the free retreat. It's like the really first thing that you see on EnglishYogaMeetup.com. And then you get an impression of my classes, but you also get a little bit of yoga off the mat inspiration. Let's put it this way.
Yeah. And the retreats have some like really amazing things in there. You get a cacao ceremony, I think so, in one.
Yeah, like we have one that is about cacao ceremony. So this is the whole one that is a little bit about self-care, opening your heart, self-care rituals. We also have one which is really interesting about how to synchronize your life with your menstrual cycle,
So
which is a super interesting topic. That's the one in the flow. the retreat. So I feel like there needs to be a lot more education about that topic still. How can you train, eat, do yoga according to your cycle? And we also have one for everyone who's working in home office currently, because home office puts a little bit of pressure on your posture and you might deal with chronic tensions. So we talk a little bit about pain management, what you can do yourself to release tensions. So different topics from, yeah, from all kind of areas, combined with a little bit of mindfulness talk, combined with ideas, quotations. Just check it out.
Really want to throw in there before we have to say goodbye, because I know we have like just a few minutes left. Um, where can people find you? And please, please, please tell us quickly about your new ebook that you just published, which is amazing. I've shared it all over the place today for people who work full time and want to start their own side business or passion project, because that was your experience, right? You founded English Yoga
Yeah.
next to
Yeah.
your. So where can people meet you? And please tell us more about the amazing ebook, which I'm so happy.
So you can find me on Instagram, of course, English Yoga Meetup. Facebook, but yeah, Facebook, you know how it works, guys. So if you're still on Facebook, look for English Yoga Meetup, but I'm more on the Instagram side, to be honest. And I think the best way, anyway, if you don't want to spend too much time on social media, which is not good for you, just subscribe to the free retreat, because then you get my weekly newsletters, and there we always share like inspiration, so you don't have to be on all these channels every time if you don't want to. Other than this, just the website, English Yoga Meetup. And for that ebook, yeah, I've noticed that in the community we have a lot of very creative women out there, and it's so beautiful to see their own projects coming into life. Some of them have just started, like book projects or doing like manual arts and crafts. If you have that idea of thinking, I also want to have something that brings passion into my life, just be reminded you don't have to decide. You don't have to choose between your full-time job and your new hobby. Because most of the times we always get by society, you have to choose either this one and that one. I feel like you can do both. So just do both. Just stay organized and disciplined to make that work out. Because when I started 4 years ago, and it's still the same situation, I'm still working 100% full-time, plus the yoga. But it's actually feasible if you know how to do it, how to automate certain things. So you're not going to spend the whole day on admin stuff you don't want to do. And like this ebook is, I would say it's a more motivational ebook. So if you're still having doubts, is this for me? Then you should read it. If you're struggling about, okay, what do I want to create? I'm a little bit clueless. I share a method of how you can come up with an idea. And the whole part, branding, like what are your own values? Because basically when you start off for your passion side project, it starts with you. It starts about getting to know yourself, what are your values, because basically you become the brand. So we are talking a little bit about values, branding, and then the whole type of marketing stuff, because in my full-time job, I'm working since more than 10, 12 years in digital marketing. And like we share all the tools, how to create a website, how to gain visibility, how, and what are, yeah, what's gonna simplify your life, because I have tried out so many tools out there, from email marketing to whatever, and in order to help you to avoid wasting all that time of trying out the different providers, I'm gonna give my honest opinion about these tools, so you know exactly if you're a coach or if you're into arts and crafts, okay, this is what's probably gonna work for me. And I also share like a little bit of insights about alignment, so how to create a business that is aligned to you. We are talking about human design, which is a super interesting concept. If you have no clue about it, Google it, human design. And this also has an impact how you create your own passion project. Depends if you're a generator project. I'm not going to go into detail too much. And we also have some bonus videos. So I've been interviewing other very inspiring women who create their own thing. And sometimes you just need that little kick from the outside to see like, okay, these are real women and they have also done it. So there's no point about comparing yourself with the huge influencers out there on Instagram, but you can see that other normal women also achieve that.
Yeah. And if they can do it, you can do it too. Like, it's not like there's anything special about, like, so therefore they made it. No, like, they made it, which means you have all the ability as well, because we're all the same, right? And yeah, I think this can be super helpful for, because I do think the world is moving into another place where we're going away from I just need a job to survive to what can I do in my life and my business that I can thrive and really combine my creativity with the work I do.
Yeah, and the ebook is also about how it goes hand in hand, because it's nice to create a side passion project, but this is also going to have an impact on your full-time job. And it doesn't mean like it's a negative impact, because you're learning new skills over here that you can actually bring into your previous career. And all the things that you've learned from your previous life, from other jobs, you can also integrate it in your side hustle. So I feel like it's a symbiosis, kind of. And it doesn't mean like you're just one part. Like, we have multi-interests, we have different lives, different experience, and you just combine it to something that works.
Yeah, and for some, I love that you mentioned that. For some, it doesn't mean that you're gonna have, some people will decide, no, I want to have a full-time job and have something like a passion project on the side. Maybe someone wants to make their passion project their full-time thing, and everything is welcome and everything is, whatever feels good, right, to each individual.
Yeah, and it's a nice way again to explore what fits to you, because I've been trying out so many different things. I've been like creating digital products. I was doing pop-up yoga. I was doing yoga for businesses. I was doing one-on-ones. I was creating ebooks about nutrition. I was doing workshops on about how to do your natural organic skincare line, whatever. Like, you see with all these kind of experiences, what do you enjoy the most? Because it gives you kind of a platform to discover and play around with your own creativity. And then you, only by doing it, you're going to learn what you enjoy.
Exactly. Oh my God. On that note, only by doing it you're gonna learn what you enjoy. That's just if we stay in here, we're never gonna have the lived experience of knowing, is it something I want? Is it not?
Yeah.
So beautiful, Solveig. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Tadia.
It was a pleasure as always.
As always with you.
We're gonna
Looking forward to our next lunch.
And I'm sure we're going to do this one as a live again on another topic because so amazing. And so I'm going to let you move on with your day and we'll talk soon. And thank you for everyone who joined and listened. And I really, really hope that you got some insights or wisdom out of it. And please, if you feel inspired to do so, follow Solveig and all the beautiful stuff that she does.
Thank you, Tatjana. See you around. Thank you to the community for watching us. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.